Well, that was quite a month we had. We went from interest rates breaking past the 8% barrier to dropping at the second fastest rate in a decade last week. Never have we been happier to hear that the job market is weakening and unemployment is increasing. Yay! Now, while that's terrible for society, at least it brought with it a 3/4 drop in mortgage rates. And hey, the job market is still great by historical standards. I'm just kidding. But with last week's report, we also saw a landmark legal victory or loss, depending on your side of the argument, that potentially can change how real estate is purchased and sold forever. So make sure you subscribe because I'm breaking down what this legal ruling means for the real estate industry this very week. With that said, stay tuned as I break down all the current analytics and attempt to make some sense out of a seemingly senseless market. Okay, first up, let's check in with last month's sales. Last month, we sold 1,469 homes. While this was only a 3% reduction from last October, remember, last October was one of the worst months on record. I'll put it to you this way. During the height of the pandemic in May of 2020, we sold 64 more homes than we did last month. The world was literally coming to an end during a global pandemic, yet we were able to sell more homes than we did just last month. Just let that one sink in for a moment. Now, if we compare it to 2019, before everything went sideways on us, sales are down about 45%. I'd say that's the more rational way to look at our current sales. So with sales down 45%, clearly that means that the median price had to drop a bit as well, right? Well, on the screen now, you can see that the median price remained flat at $448,000. Now, here's where statistics begin to go off the rails. Because prices were plummeting last year before coming back up this year, our current median price of $448,000 puts us up 3% from last year. Like I mentioned last month, even if prices just remain consistent for the next 2 months, we'll end the year up 7%. Now, by all measures, a 7% increase in median price is twice the historical norm and a wonderful year for real estate. But was it really? Good Lord. All right, now let's check in on inventory levels. With so few people buying homes and prices remaining high, clearly our inventory must have exploded, right? You sensing a trend here, guys? Well, our inventory did manage to increase from just under 4,000 homes to just over 4,000 homes. A 3% increase, but realistically, just 119 homes. So while that does mark 3 straight months of increasing inventory, it's also literally half of the inventory we had at the same time last year. Finally, for our last metric, let's check out housing absorption by price range. If you're new to the channel, this illustrates how different price ranges are performing. Now, the buyer or seller of an entry-level home may have a substantially different housing experience versus a luxury home buyer or seller. Now, the larger the number, the more competitive that particular price range is performing. So let's start off with the bulk of our market, homes priced between $250,000 and $500,000. This turned out to be the most affected price segment. We went from 43% saturation down to 38%. Next, we look at $500,000 to $750,000. This too decreased from 29% to only 27%. Next, we look at $750,000 to $1 million. Oddly, this actually managed to increase for the first time since June. We went from 22% up to 23%. All right, now let's talk luxury. Homes priced between $1 million to $1.5 million. This dropped from 24% down to 21%. All right, last but not least, we have the ultra luxury market of homes priced over $1.5 million. While this remained relatively consistent at 16%, there was a modest increase of 5 homes under contract. So it remains a tale of disparity. While the lower end of the market continues to struggle, the ultra luxury market here in Las Vegas remains pretty strong by comparison. All right, now let's try to make some sense out of all this madness. Sales are down 45%. But the median price is flat. Inventory is rising modestly, and we just learned that it's taking the largest toll on the lower end of the market. So where are we at, and where are we going? Well, the good news is that we finally had a reprieve in mortgage rates. What's even better is that this was organic. Currently, the mortgage spread, or the difference between mortgage rates and the 10-year Treasury bond, is still over 1% more than the historical average. Meaning, regardless of the Fed rate, we can look forward to an eventual 1% drop in mortgage rates on the horizon. Now, as of this recording, that would bring rates down to just over 6.25%. This would substantially improve the market. Now, on an average Las Vegas home of $450,000 with 20% down, the difference between that 8% mortgage and 6.25 is $425 a month. Now, drop that down to 5.5%, and now you're saving $600 a month. That's an entire car payment right there for the average home buyer. So while it's been nothing but doom and gloom recently, at least we can go into the holidays with some hope in sight. Now, this is the slow season, so while this was the second largest drop in rates in over a decade, I don't necessarily think you're going to see a massive surge in activity just yet. I still think we have about 6 months before rates come down enough to spur some activity in the market. So if you're looking to purchase, these next couple of months may just provide you with a little window to negotiate with a motivated seller, while taking advantage of some moderately better rates. Now, eventually rates will drop below 6%, eventually. Now, when that time does come, you're going to have 2 years worth of buyers jumping back into the market all at the same time. So while you may be able to nab a better rate down the road, you're also more likely to be competing with other buyers and paying a higher price for that home in question. Well, guys, that's it for this month. Make sure you subscribe, because I'm dropping a major video regarding some of these massive changes that could drastically affect how we buy and sell real estate and disrupt the entire industry for realtors. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys all on the next one. Deuces.